Okay, so today we get to talk to Jessica Haydahl, one of my favoriteest photographers in the fishing space or any space. And so excited to have you on, Jessica. Thank you for joining Cast to Connect today.
Thank you for having me. And it's been way too long since we've seen each other, just in general.
Yes. Jessica and I have been working together for off and on for 10 years, 8 years, something like that.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time now.
Mm-hmm. And I think we first met on the Redfish road trip, maybe? Or was it before
Been that?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it was before that. Mm-hmm. It could have been one of the well, I guess I didn't go into the Denver show until after that particular trip. So maybe that was kind of one of our first meetings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Super fun. And we still use some of those photos today. And then you've done shoots in Alaska for us. And yeah.
All over.
So maybe for people that don't know you, maybe you could kind of tell people a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
Well, I love a good chit chat, so thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm a commercial photographer. I've been working independently for myself for close to 20 years now. And in my career, I've been many different types of photographers throughout my career. I've photographed many things from the wedding space to the outdoor industry. I think the better rounded photographer you can be, or the more well-rounded you can be, the better you are at just shooting and adapting to all sorts of situations. Yeah, I live in Montana. I'm originally from Canada. I'm a very proud Canadian. I did go through my citizenship here in the U.S. a couple years ago, so I'm a dual, but I'm wear my Olympic Canadian teams on my sleeve there.
Yes.
And yeah, so I specialize currently in the sports fishing industry, photographing commercial work. And I've been doing that maybe past 10 years, I think, approximately. And yeah, been on a lot of adventures and met a lot of really nice people.
So when did you do your first, so 10 years ago you did your first fishing photography? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, I almost want to, it probably more than 10 years. I feel like the COVID years get confusing in my mind when things happen. So I have actually been shooting sports fishing since, 2009, I think technically is when it started, but not in the commercial sense. Mm-hmm. I got, well, just to back preference it, I came out of college and then I went to, I got a bachelor's degree and then I went to photography school. And out of photography school, I had a practicum with the Vancouver Canucks in the NHL. Cool. So I was shooting sports, basically, is kind of where I was headed. And from there, growing up in Vancouver, I was photographing the Vancouver Canucks, and a lot of the players at the time liked to fish and grew up on the ocean and everything. And so I got a call once from the head photographer and of the team, and he said, "Hey, you know how to drive boats. Could you head up to Haida Gwaii, which is not far from you up there in Alaska, and photograph a salmon derby for a children's hospital, basically." And it was a bunch of the players from the Vancouver Canucks and some, more affluent investors. Basically, it was a charity event. So I was like, why not? I feel like I could do that. So I got sent up north and flew in a helicopter and went to a beautiful lodge, and they gave me my own boat, and there, you head on out. And yeah, it was pretty wild. And that led to a relationship with that lodge that lasted close to 15 years.
Oh, cool.
And so that's kind of the start of the sports fishing but it wasn't the commercial side, which is what I do now, where I shoot for brands specifically. That was more documenting their lodge, their clients, a little bit more of souvenir photography, which is, I stay away a little bit from that now, just because that's it's a lot to do that. Yeah. It takes a lot out of you. So it's been a long time. But in terms of the commercial space, once I legally was allowed to work in the United States, and I had met my husband, and I was just traveling back and forth. Once we got married and I lived here is when the actual commercial side of sports fishing photography started here in the United States, where I could shoot for brands who are producing, the sunglasses, shirts, clothing, rods, reels, baits, boats. And that's kind of where the career took a bit of a curve. And then that's, you kind of accelerate in what you can do and how much you can make, and it changes things quite significantly. I would say so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how do you pick like the best way to make a shot when you're on the boat? I mean, I've seen you laying on the bottom of the boats. I've seen you hanging over the side.
I mean,
it's such magic to it.
Well, I come from more of an editorial background, and a lot of that is due to photographing, say, in the NHL, photographing just sports in general, and then photographing weddings, which was a huge start to my career, where, I do tell a lot of people that when you shoot a wedding, you get to be a lot of photographers in one day. You get to be a portrait photographer, a landscape photographer, you're a food photographer, a macro photographer. You're then lining people up. You're directing the production, basically. So you have to be a lot of different types of photographers in one day. And I think that really allows you to practice and get better at capturing the moment. And that's kind of where my commercial photography sits. There's a lot of commercial photographers who will come in with big lighting productions and they shoot product in a very specific way. Right. What is asked of me more in my environment is I'm shooting the anglers with the product in their environment, and I'm just there to document it. Yeah. We definitely do line up some shots, but I'm not a studio photographer. Yeah. I have the ability to do that, but I would say 99.9% of my work is I'm in their office and I am basically learning from them, having them teach me about their fishery. I'm in so many different types of fisheries that I don't know everything about, crappie fishing or catfishing or red fishing, in different environments, not just red fishing in Louisiana on fly, but like, red fishing in South Carolina or in parts of Florida. And so it's a lot of asking questions and asking them, okay, is this normal? Is this kind of what we would do? Would you get laughed at if we shot it like this? Or, hey, I'm going to have you hold the fish this way just because it's going to look really good. I understand that, for example, in the bass fishing industry, I understand that most people lip their fish, but that's not the most beneficial way to hold a fish to make it look good. Right. So years ago, I started having the guys hold it and release bass like a trout. And we could I do think doing that, we really did kind of help change some of the photographs that were starting to come out. I won't say, I can't remember. I can't sit and claim if I was the first person to do that by any means, but I know I'm one of the first to say, hey, let's hold a bass let's hold, your palm out and put a bass tail in your palm like you would do with a redfish or you would do with like bigger salmon or something like that. Certain, everything's the same in terms of handling the fish is going to basically depict what we can do. Right. And whether that's handling it underwater or above, or it's something like a marlin, you can't handle a fish. So you have to come up with different ways to be creative. And it also really depends. You had asked originally about how do I know, how to get the shot. It depends what I'm shooting too. Yeah. If I'm shooting for a rod company and a reel company, it is great to get a wide shot of this beautiful fish and everything, but sometimes they want a little bit more product placement. So I'm shooting over the shoulder, focusing on the rod that's being held out while they're holding the fish in the water, and trying to get logos. And so there's a lot to it. Your hope is you can catch a bunch of fish and then be able to shoot it in so many different ways that you have so many options. But that's not always how it works, unfortunately. Sometimes you get skunked, or sometimes you get one fish and that's your fish for the whole, for all of it. And if you're fishing for a fish that's pretty hardy, like I would say a redfish is pretty hardy, you can handle a redfish more than say your trout. You can take that time to get some more photos and document it. So hopefully that answers the question, because I never really know until the moment happens, and whatever we're working with, and I don't get that option. It's
so you have just to be on go. I mean, you're on the whole time, right? And really watching what's going on. And
it's a lot of watching people fish. That's the funny thing, is I never thought
fish?
Sometimes, but honestly, what's the point? I'm going to pick up a rod, then I'm going to maybe want to fish, or I'm going to pick up a rod and somebody else catches the fish while I'm holding this rod with a bait in the water or a lure in the water. And then I'm suddenly not doing my job. So I really don't fish. Also, my passion in life is not fishing. I do enjoy fishing, but I don't have the need to do it. But I just never thought I would spend this many hours of my life watching people fish all the time. And you have to be able to like center yourself and bring yourself to a certain peace. But I feel like when we go out on these shoots, whether it's bass to offshore to whatever we're doing, for the most part, you can have nice conversations and the day passes, even if fishing, is slow or something like that.
It's just fun to hang out with. So
thank you. Well, chit-chatter here. Just chit-chatting.
Hey, question for you. Did you start out using film, or were you always digital?
Started out using film when I was I'm an 80s baby. And so I'm 42, so it kind of gives you a good idea that I was definitely playing with film cameras before digital cameras were even a thing for the general public to have, at least. I started with my mom's 1978 Minolta SLR. It's on one of the cameras on the shelf behind me. Cool. I've got like 45 film cameras in my studio. I still shoot film. I would say my hobby in photography, or my passion in photography, is shooting film cameras and just slowing it down and just really trying to capture that. I love that, and I try to do that whenever I have an opportunity. My digital cameras most of the time actually sit in the Pelican case when I come back from a job, and I usually don't touch it until my next job. And so I love shooting film, and it was in 2005 or 6 is when I borrowed money from my mom and dad. Just graduated, 2005, just graduated university, was going to go to photography school, and I borrowed money to buy, I think it was a $2,000 DSLR that was 10 megapixels at the time. And I was one of the only ones in my class that had a DSLR, because they were just hitting the market for people to purchase them. They were so expensive at the time. I mean, they're still like $2,000, but now you're getting like a 60 megapixel camera for 2,000 or more. My cameras cost like $6,000 now, but it's all relative. So I love film. I think there's nothing that can replace it. I just hope it never goes away, and always trying to connect with younger generations to show them about film, or if I can give them a film camera and try to help them out.
Is it a different quality of photo?
It's a textural. It's not just the overall photograph, but the camera itself is, I own a lot of different cameras, and they're just really tactile. They're mechanical. The sounds of the shutter. So it's everything from that to slowing it down to not sure what you're going to get, and going from there. I'm going to tell my dog to lay down. Will you please lay down? She's just sitting at the door crying. She'll be fine. And so in the end, if I have a chance to shoot film, I usually bring a film camera with me on all my photo shoots. Cool. Whether or not I have a chance to shoot them, it doesn't always happen. So.
And do you do black and whites at all, or?
Yeah, I have a fridge in my studio that's just dedicated to holding my film, and I shoot anything from black and white to color. But film prices are so expensive nowadays that I kind of know I'm not really into experimental films. That's a whole market, and I love that they're putting that out because I think there's a lot of younger people who are really enjoying that. I kind of like to know my results and what I'm getting. So I use my tried and true Kodak Portra 400 or 160 or 800. And then Fuji, you can always pick up Fuji, usually at Walmart. And my black and white films. So I usually pack a little bag in it. It's a little do not X-ray bag. When I go through TSA, I just hand them the bag and they hand check it for me and they don't put it through the X-ray machine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you've also, I know when you've been in Alaska too, for a while you were doing a lot of work with filming, taking photos of bears and teaching people about bears. Do you?
Yeah, I did that for 2 seasons, I think it was.
Yeah.
We had a couple groups of photographers that we led into Larsen Bay area. And Kodiak Island, and flying around there and experiencing the brown bears is insane.
Yeah.
You're truly humbled by that experience. And the first year, I captured quite a bit, and the second year, I was in a bit of a different headspace. My dad had just passed, and I was kind of just ready to I just needed to, it was a commitment I made. And it was maybe about, I think, a month after he had passed. And I was kind of like, I'm just not feeling like lugging all my gear. Why I'm here to teach people and to help them share in the experience. So I actually took my film camera with me, and I had one little digital in my film camera, and I walked out to that one viewing spot that we go to when we fly out from Larsen Bay, and I just shot film. I mean, I don't have a big lens for my film camera. I was shooting a Leica. I was shooting a 1964 vintage film camera, and so I just had I found that to be lovely. It just took away all the weight of carrying film cameras, digital cameras, and everybody enjoyed their experience. And here I was just snapping photos. I actually just posted on my website. I have a blog on there, and I don't upload to it very often, but I had written a story a few years ago actually about it. And I was like, I might as well put this up, and just shared all my photos, and a lot of photos from the cannery there, and how it's so different and neat. And that's kind of where my experiences were lied the second year I went. But if anybody gets a chance to go see brown bears, it was pretty incredible.
So incredible. And it can be intimidating. And I think the thing that you realize, as long as there's a lot of fish around, they're not going to bother you. So
yeah. But that's the thing, is that's what we're banking on. Right. It is a little crazy. It is a little crazy, and you're with your guide, and he has a gun, but nobody's carrying, he's got bear spray and a gun, and he's like, I got you, don't worry. And then if you ask, well, how many times have you ever had to shoot a bear, or shoot at a bear? I'm sorry, because you don't want to be shooting at these protected bears. He's like, oh, never. And then he'll describe which bear is arriving and what time they arrive at, because they arrive at the same time every day to come eat salmon in the river. And so even though it's a wild animal and you have to really respect it, the guides we've had, they would move us around at different times and say, okay, now we need to leave, or this bear is getting a little too curious about us. I'm going to have everybody stand together. Could everybody please just stay still and follow my lead? And only a couple times did we have to really get on the move, because a mama and some cubs decided that they wanted to constantly follow us. And I was like, what? And he said, she knows what she's doing. Yeah, it's a little intimidating, because you're now walking in a You're walking in a stone river trying to like, you're not running, you're walking, and she's constantly moving to like kind of cut you off in a way because she just knows what she's doing.
Absolutely.
Even though in the end she wants nothing to do with you or her cubs to have anything to do with you. You just get worried about the cubs and their curiosity, and you don't want for a second any of them to come close to you. So we had a couple interesting experiences, but the guide didn't seem worried. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, if he's not worried, then I have to trust that he does this every year. And so, yeah, it was a pretty incredible experience. The grizzlies here in Montana aren't the kind of bears that I would ever want to see. We have at least, 2 or 3 fatalities every year during hunting season here. So we have a pretty high rate. I don't know if we're the highest, maybe Alaska and then maybe us, I would assume.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was a beautiful time to take photos of them and just see that space, because it kind of looks like Jurassic Park over there.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yes. It's like a big rainforest, and it's it's incredibly beautiful. And the fishing's pretty good. Also, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for your photography that you're doing for some of your clients, what, like on the fishing side especially, what are some of the funnest experiences that you've had, as far as like, is there a fish you can remember that was like amazing? Or
yeah, I mean, I went to Christmas Island with a group of women back in 2019, and I shot a film and still images. I have my dog currently trying to bring me the tennis ball. I'm gonna need you not to do. I brought them in here because I was like, oh, they'll be fine. And so Christmas Island was really cool because your bonefish are huge, absolutely stunning. And then the triggerfish there, that's a fish that I got really excited to see. At the end of my film, my friend Jenny West, she had caught a beautiful triggerfish that she had been trying to catch the whole trip. And I mean, the teeth and the eyes, and what a stunning, stunning fish. So there's that. Anytime I'm on a boat that catches a billfish, it's always really exciting. I think billfish are like dinosaurs. Beautiful, harder to photograph because you're now dealing with a fish with a sword on its face, and you have to respect that and keep it in the water, and respect the fact that you have to keep them moving. Usually have to keep the boat in gear. So anytime you have a fish that you have to keep the boat in gear to keep water going through its gills, it makes it really hard to, say, dunk an underwater housing in the water, or because as the boat moves forward, your hand goes backwards. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely some more challenges with that, but you just have to get creative. Yeah. And I always get pretty excited when people catch some big tunas and stuff. I'm not one to ever want to reel in a tuna because they're sea anchors, but I do get excited when someone catches a big tuna. I get excited for them, but I don't want to be them. And then, of course, trout. Anytime on our local river here in Montana, the trout here are beautiful. And especially in the wintertime, you can catch some really pretty looking brown trout. So I would say that probably too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I get pretty excited whatever fishery I'm going to when we accomplish what we set out to accomplish, because I know how hard it is to order a fish up on a photo shoot. Because as soon as you bring a camera, you have automatically jinxed the photo shoot, right? So I'm very aware of this. I went in November, I went to Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, to shoot a muskie shoot on conventional tackle. But, I arrive at the start of their, coldest day of the year so far with a snowstorm. It kind of came out of nowhere. I knew it was going to be cold, but I didn't realize it was going to get that cold. It wasn't forecasting for those temps. I hit up their local Walmart. I suddenly have to go get extra layers and heat warmers. And the boat was frozen to the trailer for the first 2 hours in the morning. We couldn't get it unlodged. Even with it sitting in the water, we could not get it to budge. But in the end, I was with a great angler. He's an awesome guide up there. And I just remember when we finally caught the first fish, and now it's a needle in a haystack for muskie at that time of year. Like basically I usually get the sentence, you should have been here a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
because you have to also remember, if I'm photographing mostly guides or captains, they fit in the photo shoots with the brands in between their own clients most of the time. So I'm usually not there at the desired time, unfortunately. And that can be really frustrating because I am there maybe while you're allowed to catch them. It's legally allowed to catch them, say for like snappers and stuff. You're there at that right time, but you're not there at the peak of the season because they're already booked. So I just remember this one in particular, we hooked into a muskie, and he was so excited. And as soon as I know, when I see a guide excited or a captain excited, then that's right away. I know, okay, this is a special moment and we can't mess it up. Let's get this. And it was like immediate hugging and high-fiving. And I usually try to get photos of myself high-fiving my clients or my captains or the guides if there's nobody else on the boat. But yeah, to answer your question in short form there, I get pretty excited no matter what experience I get to be in. And I think that's because you're sharing in the excitement of somebody else accomplishing it. And so I think that's really what it is. It doesn't matter to me what fish it is, truly, because what matters is, are we accomplishing it? Is their reaction genuine? And have we just done something really special that's hard to do in general? Yeah. And that's kind of what I go off of.
That's awesome. And you're right. It's hard sometimes to be there at the right time. I interviewed Jacelyn Berthelot, and she is a competitive blue marlin angler.
Ooh, that's neat.
Yeah, offshore. Mm-hmm. She's caught 2 marlin over 600 pounds.
Amazing.
I know.
Yeah, that's really neat.
And she's not that big, right? I mean, and so we had this whole conversation about, catching these big fish. It takes 7 or 8 hours, and
is she doing it on like light tackle or stand-up tackle? Probably why it would take so long, because if you're sitting in your seat, it doesn't take, unless you're on light test. If you're doing it like for records and stuff, then it can take a really long time. If you're fishing conventional, like 80-pound, it's between you, the boat driver, and you can get that fish in within a couple minutes, kind of thing.
She said she was between like 20-pound and 50-pound test. Yeah, big fish. But then we started talking about superstitions when you're out fishing.
Ooh.
Yes. Do you have any, when you go out, like for a photo shoot, do you have any things that you do in a certain order to get ready, or a special piece of gear you want with you, or a bag?
Strangely enough, yes and no. So I am a former Division I college women's ice hockey player from about 20 years ago. So when I played hockey, crazy superstitions about how you put your pads on in the order of it, and did you do this? And you try, because I think where that really breeds from is if you've had a really good game, you're trying to replicate that, and you're trying to, every time you go out there, you were trying to have that moment again. Well, how do you have that moment again? Through repetition, through process, and all that. So definitely in my hockey days, like super superstition. Am I like gonna not step on a crack because I might break someone's back? Sure, I won't step on that crack. I do carry in my I always have in my pack, I always have a waterproof bag. And actually, most of the time it comes with me no matter where I am. I don't like to leave my stuff in hotels and stuff when we're out. But it has my passports in it. Passports, 2 of them. Yeah. So I can go. I always carry it with me in case of an emergency and I have to get home to my family. But in there, I do have a silver dollar that my husband gave me from one of his family members. And then I have my father's dog tag from when he was in the Norwegian military. And then I think I have like one of those little angel coins, and that just stays with me. So if that's superstitious, I think it is, but I just don't take it out, and I just travel with that. So those are the only things in terms of cameras and stuff. I mean, I just hope I don't ever forget anything. I would say I'm a very prepared photographer. Very minimal times have I ever had a situation where I don't have what I need. Like, something got left in the hotel room. That's not, I think I've been doing it for long enough now that I'm definitely, it's super routine. And I've definitely been on shoots where some people, like with other video guys before, and it's like they only have 2 batteries for the whole day. And I'm like, what? We're not going back in, right? And so I would say there's 2 things that I get, people get mad at me for saying. If I ever say like, oh, it's not windy out, that's most people are super superstitious about wind, right? If you say the W word, right, it's gonna come. So there's many times I've said that, and they're like, Jessica, don't say wind, and I'm like, oh gosh, sorry. Yeah. But in terms of like, everybody says cameras are bad luck, so I'm just sitting there with the most bad luck thing on the boat, I guess. Bad luck. Yeah, they always say that, but no, I don't think that. I think in the grand scheme of things, me wishing a fish is probably not the most important thing in the world. So I don't think that me, standing and jumping on a foot and turning twice or knocking on wood is going to help us catch anything, because it's so out of my hands that I am literally just a participant, waiting for the expert to do their job, basically. Yeah.
So are you, like we were talking about this the other day too, and most of my career has been spent where I'm usually the only gal that's, in a boardroom meetings or working at a company, whether it's trucking or even in fishing. Do you find yourself where you're the only gal? Lots of times it's out there, and are there very many other female photographers doing what you're doing in your field?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, there is no other female photographer shooting full-time commercially. There is another Jessica McLaughlin who shoots out of Missoula, and she's very much in the fly industry and editorial based. And she'd probably call herself a commercial photographer too, I imagine. So I would say that's probably just her. But there are some women that I have seen online here and there peppering in some work, but in terms of full-time commercial shooting for brands, I think I'm the only one. If there's more, love to hear from you. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit, I would say, detached from social media, TikTok. Like I'm not spending as much time on it anymore. I'm not seeing the point. It is not necessarily propelling my career forward, because a lot of what I shoot, I can't put out there. Right. The majority of what I shoot is the owned by the brand. So I could go and have this incredible shoot, but you won't necessarily see the majority of it unless it gets released by them. And then from there, I'll repost it. Or if I get a magazine or something, but, I would say I shoot 99.9% men in a male-dominated industry. Mm-hmm. And I am usually the only female person on the boat, even with anglers. Maybe last year, we had 1 female angler. Or sometimes if it's just me and the guide, and they're the ones fishing, sometimes if they have a really fishy girlfriend or wife, sometimes they'll join us. But most of the time, that's very far and few between. So with that, I think there's challenges. I don't think about it as much, but there are definitely some challenges that I deal with that I don't think that anybody has to really deal with. Say, going to the bathroom. Right. I mean, how many people say they go to work every day and then they have to worry about if they're going to pee in a bucket or, in the woods, or, a lot of people are like, well, my wife just leans over the side of the boat. And I said, I get that, but I don't know you. And I am not married to you. I already have a husband, and it's a little weird. And if there's an emergency and I fall in, now I'm like pantless in the water and you're going to have to pull me out. So I would say my biggest challenges as a female would just be that, just dealing with it. So a lot of shoots, we can bring a bucket. I feel more comfortable just having a bucket that I can quickly just sit on and pee. And I'm not having to hold on to anything, because there's nothing worse than like just holding it and being out there and feeling miserable, because especially as you age as a female, like, it's just, I'm not going to do that anymore. And so, and there's some other things that I have to deal with that no men have to deal with. And it just is the way it is. But I wouldn't say that defines my career or defines anything. And we can always figure it out or work through it.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's kind of, other than that, I usually just, if I'm rolling to a shoot alone. So sometimes I'm on shoots with the people from the companies I shoot for, but I would say most of the time they just send me and here's the captain's info, here are the dates, connect with the captain, here's your shot list, and let us know if you need anything. And so I'm in direct contact with the captains or the guides, and I usually then say, we're out all day? Yeah. Okay. Do you have a bucket? Yep. Okay. Could you bring the bucket, please? Because there's nothing worse. The worst was maybe the slop bucket that they had all the dead fish in that they were going to chum the water with. And that was going to be my pee bucket. And I was like, well, it's an interesting story to tell. I mean, there are worse things you could complain about, but I'm like, this is definitely interesting.
So I got to know over the past year this young gal named Georgia, and she has a company called Nara, and they make the zippers that you put in pants so you can go to the bathroom.
Okay. Oh, so you can like use the sheepy or whatever?
No. So the crotch zips open, and then you can go to the bathroom and not have to expose at all.
Oh, expose the whole backside.
Right.
I have a friend who she always likes to say, she goes, if anybody sees you, just say, you're welcome. Just move on. I was like, I like that, but I'm like, it can be frustrating. There can definitely be frustrating moments, but in the grand scheme of things, like I'll, if I get frustrated, I'll complain about it for about 10 minutes and then we move on. And, or I'll call my husband after the shoot and complain about it. And then he'll be like, okay, you good? I'm good.
You met your husband on a boat, right?
Yes, yeah.
In Panama or something?
I got sent to Panama. So this Canadian fishing lodge the salmon lodge that I had the relationship with for so long, they sent me to Panama to photograph a marlin fishing lodge that they were trying to open down there. And my husband ran a private marlin fishing operation out of Panama for close to 15 years. So he had a mothership and 2 sport boats. And coincidentally enough, he's back down there with one of the sport boats. It's running it out of Tropic Star when it's at certain times. So he was actually just gone for 2 months running a boat out of Tropic Star. And so my operation that I was shooting at was here, and his 90-foot mothership with 2 sport boats were just across from us. And the ship I was on had a very talented chef who became a well-known Canadian chef out of Toronto. So there would be a lot of boats pulling up at random times coming for dinner to have these exclusive dinners on our ship. It was a huge ship. It was big, I think it was 150 feet or so, massive ship. And so, anyways, he and some his clients came over one night for dinner, and that's how I initially met him. But I had photographed the very first marlin I ever saw. He had come over to the boat and picked up some of our clients. This is before I had actually met him. Because I guess somehow they had rented him out for the day. And so he took the clients out, and then I went out on a chase boat, which in the marlin industry, this doesn't happen very often, where you get an opportunity to be a chase boat to photograph, specifically to photograph, because you're like way offshore. And so we were way out there, and he radioed to say they were on a marlin, and so we rolled up by them, and he said, you can get in closer, we have them on the leader. And as we back down, I had my camera out, and I have the best marlin photos I've ever taken of a marlin. It's been on multiple covers, and it was actually on the last Angler's Journal magazine so far to be ever published. I believe they are not physically being published anymore. So it was on the November issue just recently, but it's been on a few magazines. Marlin Mag, a different angle of it, and then an Australian magazine too. And it's the marlin looking at you. It's like this, and the eyeball is looking at you. And so when he came over to the boat, he saw that photo, and that's how we initially met.
He's like, oh, I like her.
He goes, well, that's a really cool picture. Yeah. I didn't know that he, lived in Montana. I didn't know much about him at the time, but over time, and I spent 2 months in
Fun.
Panama, and then I went backpacking in Peru and stuff. And this is when I felt young, like, and wanted to backpack. And yeah, I mean, I'm still young, but I don't really want to backpack and sleep on the floor of somewhere anymore. I'm good. Yeah, nice hotel, please. Nice hotel.
Exactly.
So I met him through the sports fishing industry, and then I ended up spending 5 years photographing for mostly his clientele, on his boat in Panama. We had an apartment we would go to, and we'd stay out on the ship for 40 days at a time, and 200 and something days a year of fishing. And so I joined him for the last close to 5 years before he had closed the major part of the operation down. Spent a lot of time out at Tropic Star there and Piñas Bay, and seeing some incredible fish.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you were talking about covers, and I see some on the wall behind you. How many covers are you up to now?
Gosh, I think I have like 27 or 28. I just got another one the other day, which I'm really excited about, because the problem now is that the physical magazines are dropping. There's Fire Crown, who just bought up, they own Marlin and Saltwater Sportsman and Angler's Journal now. And when I got that email a few months ago from Angler's Journal saying that was that, I was like, oh, that's heartbreaking, because that was one of my favorite magazines to contribute to. Who knows if they'll be able to resurrect it in terms of a digital edition, but it's really too bad, because that was like a coffee table book. That was a beautiful magazine with less ads. But even like Marlin Magazine, Saltwater Sportsman, Salt Fishing Mag, like I believe they've taken them all off shelves now, and it's by subscription only. So you can't walk through the airport anymore and be like, I took that photo. That's really cool. Yeah. I love the editorial world. If I could just shoot editorial stuff, I would, but financially it doesn't pay bills very well. So I was pretty excited. I didn't realize I had the March issue of Saltwater Sportsman. I just had received an email. It's all like, you get paid through direct deposit and stuff. So you receive an email through Fire Crown, and it's like, you have this amount of money getting deposited. And I looked at it and I said, well, that seems like a cover. So then I had to go online, Google it, look for what their latest issue looks like. And then I had to go buy the magazine to get a copy of it. So I went online and paid $20 to have them ship me the copy with my photo.
Aww.
I'm like, well, I'm contributing back.
That's right.
And so I was pretty stoked about that. This is a little red fish just kind of looking at you. And I'm always trying to send them images that are like a little different. And just I don't know. I just sometimes you can send an image to a magazine. They have the same call outs every month. It's always the same for every year. If you look back, they're always looking for this in this month. And so I just know now that if I put it in front of them enough, could take 8 years, but eventually it will get published. You just have to sit with it, and you have to be like, okay, it's going to get published. But I walk a fine line, because, I have commercial work, and depending on who it's shot for, and if they're okay with it, and it's not an image that they're holding on to, that's going to be their main iCast image or an image for their main ad campaign. Then I can then usually select something and put it out to a magazine. But, I don't get to shoot stock like I used to. And so I don't have the pool of as much imagery that I'm allowed to share with the public, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on all those covers. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I love seeing them.
I think I saw your post on the one a couple of days ago. So
yeah,
that was awesome. Cool.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting. It's what I first truly wanted. When I shot for the Vancouver Canucks, I really wanted to get a photo on the front page of the sports section. That's what I was gunning for. And that ended up happening a few times. I think it all started in college. I was finishing my senior year, and I had was a business major. Marketing advertising major is what I graduated with, but I took as many photo courses as I could, and I was always in the dark room. They just let me pay like a small fee, and I could just be in the dark room. And I had started selling prints. I lived in Detroit, and I started selling prints of Detroit to the athletic department. Like the athletic director bought a framed massive print of the Detroit skyline at night. And it wasn't until then that I was like, oh, this could be something. And so I went and I job shadowed at the local school newspaper for an afternoon, where they went out to one of the girls' softball games. And the guy handed me his digital camera with like a 300 millimeter zoom on it. He goes, take a couple photos and just see what this is like. And I took one of a picture, and he goes, we'll publish that one. That will be good. And so he published it in the local university paper. And when that happened, it was like a light bulb went off, and I'm like, I need to do this. This is what I need to do. And luckily my mom was pretty gung-ho about getting me back to Canada. Oh gosh. Sorry. We're now actually legitimately barking at nothing. And so, yeah, the editorial world is where I would 100% live if there was, a true ability to make a good income. It's just, as you know, in newspapers and magazines, it's just dying slowly, unfortunately.
It's tough. So
Yeah.
if you were to advise somebody young starting out in photography and wanted to do commercial work like you, how would you recommend them getting started? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a period of time where we were getting fed a ton of imagery on social media that made it seem like going and shooting for, say, Yeti or all these companies was like the thing that you needed to go do, or that's like the number one thing I would hear from people. It's like, I want to be this photographer. And then my question back to them would be, well, are you a photographer right now? Like, do you make 100% of your income off photography? And they'd be like, well, no. And I said, well, why don't you work to just becoming a full-time photographer first, and then work towards specializing? And I would always get so much pushback on that, and I don't really know why. And that is why I always advocate weddings to people, because of the amount of practice you get, because you get to be so many people in one day. I don't actually particularly find them stressful. It's just high paced, but it shouldn't be stressful because I know what I'm doing, and I know how to work my camera. And if you know how to work your camera and you know what you're doing, then moments will come up and you'll capture them. And then if you miss a moment, and as long as it's not one of like the poignant 5 things you need to capture, you can usually get somebody just to redo it for you, And so for young people coming up, I would say, like, first of all, go get certified in something. I'm a huge proponent of post-secondary education. I feel like for some reason that has been a little lost on the last couple generations. Could be because of it costs a lot of money. It could be because we can make jobs out of essentially nothing. Like, you can just potentially be a YouTuber. I think that was like the number one job choice of like kids in elementary schools. They all wanted to be YouTubers. I'm like, that's great, but what if you go get your like media or arts degree and then like become a YouTuber, and then you can like you can then have like a basis behind you. I think that post-secondary education is so incredibly helpful. I know it's not for everybody, but I owe so much to going through university and finding out a lot about myself, and also time management, how to be professional, how to talk professional to people, how to answer emails professionally. Like, there's so much behind it, responsibility, finances, like, there's just so much. And so I went and got a marketing advertising degree, and I use my marketing advertising degree all the time. I went to a 2-year professional photo imaging diploma program after I graduated university. And that diploma program then gave me the contacts to work with people in the industry and slowly start getting photography jobs. But because of that business degree, I can answer emails. Now, was it perfect 20 years ago when I started? Absolutely not. I was in my early 20s and I was still learning, but like, I had a base behind me of growing. And so if you're in university right now and you want to be a photographer in the outdoor space, then the best thing is to keep your education going, but shoot in your free time as much as possible and shoot everything you want to be hired for and make it in and put it in your portfolio. And if you put everything out on Instagram, unfortunately, it becomes oversaturated. So I don't know. I just think that truly there is a lack of understanding in terms of it takes hard work and it can take a little bit of time to get to where you want to be. And that's not a bad thing. And I think that it doesn't need to be a struggle. That's the one thing, like when I had a little bit of a struggle in the photography industry because I had a lot of the old guard who didn't want to share any tips, tricks, or thoughts. And I'm not about that. I'm an open book when it comes to talking about photography, giving people ideas and thoughts. And I'm not worried about you taking my job because there's plenty of jobs out there. And I don't always need to shoot in the fishing industry. I can go and shoot many things. You know, if I need to go take baby portraits, I'll go take baby portraits. I don't care. I make 100% of my living off of photography. So I will be whatever I need to be. But it doesn't need to be a struggle, but you do need to put in the hard work and the foundation to get yourself there.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing too, when you think about this, is just building networks of people that are either,
absolutely,
you know, people that are in your industry, people that can help you with things, or people you help with. And then also, you know, the customers that you get to know over the years, right?
And yeah, in this industry, the sports fishing industry is very small, truly, when you think about it. And they're a really small piece of the pie also. The outdoor industry in itself, you go work for somebody outside of the fishing realm and you don't understand, like, it's a lot more money. And it's yeah. Like I went and did a shoot once for a clothing company that was outside of fishing, and we happened to be fishing, but the clothing company itself is outside of fishing. Yeah. And they called me and they're like, okay, this is what we'll pay you for the job. They didn't even have me quote on it. And I was like, keep my mouth shut. Yeah, that's no problem. I think I could do it for that price. And in my mind, I'm like, this is what they're paying in that industry. What am I doing in this industry? But I think that in the fishing industry, people move very laterally. People don't always stay at their jobs. Yeah. You can have an in with one company and you can be there, you know what, for this many years. And as soon as your person is gone, usually you go. And that's the only unfortunate part. A lot of these bigger corporate branded companies, it's just, there isn't as much, like they're not as dedicated to you as you would be to them. And so it's just literally the way it is in this industry. And so networking is huge, and keeping contacts and being kind to people and saying hello and reaching out. And I think in the long run, that's what people remember. They probably remember me as like a super chit chatty person, but who's from Canada. But other than that,
amazing, you know,
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I have to say, probably one of my favorite photos is one you took of your dad. And so, you know,
it's my screensaver.
Oh, is it really? Oh.
Yeah, it's my screensaver on my phone.
You know, the people portraits where you really get, you know, you get the whole face and the expression, and you know, that's
you get all the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was a salty sea captain. You know, he was always older. I had an elderly father. You know, I'm 42, and when he passed 3 years ago, he was 90, 91. And so he was always elderly. He was 50 when he had me. And so he played the part really well with all the lines and the I had him come to my photography school once for a portrait session, and I made him put on like the Stormy Cromer hat and a yellow rain jacket, and I had like a cup of steaming hot coffee, and I lit it with studio lights to make it look like, I had a rope on his shoulder, and he's like, what are we doing? I don't do this on the tugboat. You know, thick Norwegian accent. And I'm like, I'm just trying to show like what I think of you. I made a short little film about my dad, actually, and it's on YouTube there. Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's him just talking about his job. And
oh my gosh,
I highly recommend documenting, you know, your family members when you get a chance to.
Yeah.
So.
Well, dads are special in our lives, and
absolutely.
yeah, you captured your dad very well.
Thank you. I think so. I think he would probably be laughing at it. He'd be like, why do I look so wrinkled?
Well, thanks for taking time out today to visit and talk about
Absolutely.
your career. And yeah, you've just done such an amazing job, not only for the fishing industry, but fairs and everything else. So we really appreciate what you do.
Well, I just love capturing things. And like I said, I love to go. I enjoy going fly fishing here and there, but I have so many hobbies outside of fishing. And then when you like stare at people fish all day, you're like, I kind of want to go home and do something else today. Like, let's go for a bike ride. And so in the end, I think that it's been nice to be on this adventure and be able to photograph and meet so many people. Like, when would I have ever gone to Alabama, like rural Alabama, just all these places that I don't think I would have ever traveled to unless there was work there. I've been able to, northern Wisconsin and see some of these areas. Spent a bunch of time last year and was like Rhode Island, Cape Cod, Connecticut. It was so cool just to see all those places. And, I think that to me is the most special thing I'm taking away from this, is being able to explore and see places I wouldn't normally have a chance to. Yeah. And so I need to enjoy it now, because it won't be something I do forever.
No. No.
I mean, I'll always be a photographer. That is never a question. But whether I'm jumping on boats and running up and down coastlines, I don't know. And that's okay, because I feel like I've gotten exactly what I needed out of this. I mean, we'll see what the new chapter will be.
Yeah.
You never know.
Life's a journey, right? You just
sure is. It's too long. It's too long to be unhappy, and it's too short to be unhappy. So you got to just enjoy it.
Right. That's right. So where can people learn about you or hire you if they want to?
Yeah, I have a website, jessicahaydahlphotography.com. I made it real easy. If you put in Jessica Haydahl, it's the Norwegian spelling of Haydahl. It's like hay and then doll, like royal doll. It's my website is the best place to get a hold of me. As I said, I'm a little bit disconnected, especially the last couple of months, from social media. I'm just taking time away. I don't find it's benefiting me, really. I check it maybe once a day, and I'm enjoying not having it on my phone. And so outside of that, my website's the best part. And I actually just launched a mentor photography program on my website too. Cool. I've over the years have done one-on-one sessions. Oh my goodness, my little dog. Done one-on-one sessions with people, teaching them photography or answering their questions or helping them with portfolio or any advice in that. And I've never really marketed it. And I decided, why not market it? Why not put it out there? Because I've been asked enough, or I've done it enough on the side. So I officially have that branded on my website. Awesome. And so whether it's some video work, still images, anything like that, I can be reached through my contact information on my website. I again don't check social media enough, so if I get a message through Instagram, it could be a few days before I actually see it, unfortunately. And social media should never be your portfolio. So
yeah, no, good call.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate your time, and so anybody's interested in hiring Jessica, she did an amazing job for you guys.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.